Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we got a bit of a twofer. We have the WE Knives Gentry and the WE Knives Scamp. I got them both at the same time, and I thought about doing separate videos, but you know what? There's so many things about these that are so similar. Thought I'd do them both in one, and I think a lot of people will be debating between the both anyway, so why don't we just do one review at a time. These are fairly new knives from WE, and thank WE so much for sending these out to pass around groups so I could get my hands on them. Not something I normally would have bought, so I'm very glad that I got my hands on them to do the review. Obviously, two different sizes, both S35 VN steel, both mostly titanium. On the Gentry, you're getting these carbon fiber inserts, but mostly titanium construction. And very nicely done and very interesting knives. I believe these are the first two slip joints that we did, so that's pretty cool. Let's talk a bit about some stats and do some size comparisons, and then we'll just get right into this. We have an overall length on the Gentry. We'll start with that one, with the larger one, of 7.8 inches, blade length of 3.45 inches. You have a blade thickness, very, very thin and slicey, 0.10 inches. Handle thickness, 0.47, mostly due to this little swell from the carbon, which is actually pretty comfortable. And a weight of 1.9 ounces. We will do the Scamp next. On the Scamp, you have an overall length of 6.875 inches, blade length of 3 inches, blade thickness 0.10, handle thickness slimmer at 0.40 inches, and a weight of 1.85 ounces. So almost the same weight, I think, because this doesn't have the carbon fiber cutouts, because the carbon fiber cutouts in this are pretty extreme. So that carbon fiber lightens it up a whole lot. Let's do some size comparisons. We'll move these down here a little bit, looking at my camera to make sure they're still on screen. Yep. We will do just one of our standards, or two, I guess, and then we'll move on to some other ones that apply more. Compared to your paramilitary 2, as you can see, the Gentry is a long knife. It's a slender little thing, but it's still pretty long. Another kind of long, slender knife, the Benchmade 940. It's a little longer than the 940, so you can see that one's a pretty long knife. Now let's compare it to some other slip joints I have laying around here. We have, against another large slip joint. This is the Case Sod Buster. Yeah, it's almost as long as a Sod Buster, and trust me, if you guys have never handled a Sod Buster, it's a big old knife, especially for a slip joint. And lastly, we'll throw in I'm going to move these up because this probably applies more to the Scamp than the Gentry. I'm just going to pull out one of the two blades, the Case Mini Trapper. So you can see the Scamp is just a bit longer than a Mini Trapper. I think a lot of us have cases. A lot of us, if you have more than one case, you probably have a Mini Trapper. They're a very, very popular knife. Now let's talk more about these knives specifically. As far as design goes, these are gorgeous. They are beautiful knives, I will say. And downside is that you pay for $188 for the Gentry, $178 for the Scamp. So they are not inexpensive. There's no way to sugarcoat that. We'll talk more about it in my conclusions, but they are not at all inexpensive knives. And yeah, we'll talk more about it when we get to the conclusions, but they are gorgeous. They feel like they're worth every penny of that, definitely in the hand. There's two different finishes available. Both have the same, in either knife, you get the same handle that you have here, which is really, really pretty. I do really like this brushed look, and I like the carbon fiber on the Gentry, but I also like this bronzy black wash. I think as far as handles go, that they're both equally pretty. And blade finishes, I'm glad they sent with two separate ones, because these are the two ones you can get. You can get either this satin finish, which is very brushed looking, or what they call I think they call it a hand rubbed or whatever, for the black wash, which is still really cool looking. I'm not normally a fan of coated blades, but if I was to buy one of these, I might have to go for that blade, because I'm sorry, that's just cool looking. There's no way around it. But it also looks good on the satin too. So either or, both beautiful blade finishes. Zero complaints with anything quality-wise. I don't think the most picky, angry traditional knife fan would find much to complain about with these. Very, very nice. You do have a lanyard tab or a little lanyard insert thing on the Scamp, which is really, really cool, actually. I don't like lanyards, but that's pretty darn cool, I have to say. They both have this awesome bronze hardware from Wii. I love it when Wii uses the bronze hardware. I kind of wish they would just make that like a thing that they do, because sometimes they make bad hardware color choices, but they did not on either of these. The bronze looks amazing, and both knives have a bit of a bronze touch to them, so it just sets it off, and it just looks fantastic. The only markings you have are the Wii logo on the pivot on the Scamp, and then the Wii logo on the blade on the Gentry. Now, I will say I don't like that new Wii logo, and they seem to go back and forth. I like the old one. I'm not as much of a fan of this three-dimensional one, but it does. I guess some people do really like it, but it's minimal. You just got those two little logos. I'm fine. I'm not going to complain about that. As far as the blades go, I would say they're both pretty much equal, both super thin behind the edge. These went through the pass around. I'm one of the last guys to get them, so I'm not going to do like paper cuts and all that stuff, because I don't know what they went through before I got them. But they're still really, really sharp, and they both are the same thickness behind the edge, same blade thickness. So they're really excellent little slicing tools. Well, they're not that little, but you know what I mean. Very good little slicing tools, and both have a thing I always look for on the tips. Both pretty decent. On the Gentry, you're getting a bit dainty up there. On the Scamp, you're getting a bit thicker of a tip. I do like that. I think I like the blade shape on the Scamp better, just because I like that thicker tip. This one is getting a bit dainty, quite dainty actually, now that I look at it more closely on my hand like this. It didn't feel like it when I was using it, but yeah, that's a bit might break it off kind of thing. But these aren't knives that you're going to be doing heavy duty use stuff with. They are slip joints, so at least for me, I don't do a whole lot of heavy duty stuff with slip joints. As far as ergonomics go, again, they're both pretty good, but very different. In the Scamp, you're getting this slimmer design, but with these little finger cutouts fit me really, really well, and it just of course there's no pocket clips on either of these, so you don't worry about that. It's so comfortable in the hand. It is really, really nice. It is a full 4-finger grip for me. Again, large size hand, skinny fingers, but as you can see, it's still a full 4-finger grip, which is good. And I do like that. It is very comfortable. But the Gentry, it's bigger. It's got this nice little swell. This thing is just ergonomically just amazing for how slim that it is. You look at this and you think, oh, it looks cool, but it's not going to be that great in the hand. But no, it's really, really, really good in the hand, actually. It's actually excellent. I just found the S35VN marking. It's always kind of fun, a little game to play with Wii's and Civivis and stuff, is to find where they hid the steel marking. I found it. It's so comfortable in the hand. It is a really nice knife in the hand. As far as action goes, I mean, these are slip joints. They're both two-hand open. That's what they're supposed to be. So I can't really comment on fidgetability or anything like that. But they're really good. I mean, I have had a fair amount of experience with traditionals and modern traditionals and stuff, and the walk and talk is really good. It does have a very, very confident half stop. You see, I had my finger down there where if it had gone past, it had cut me. There are a lot of slip joints I don't dare do that on. I do on this, but it is smarter to have your finger up farther so that if it does come down, it's not going to get you. But very good. And listen, very snappy. Very snappy. On a scale of 1 to 10 for the walk and talk on this, which is a traditional term that I've finally learned how to use properly, I would put it somewhere 6 or 7. It's not as snappy as some of the GECs and stuff that you get, but it's pretty good. And as I said, it's confidence inspiring. I never feel like it's going to snap on me at all. I really do like that. The action on them is outstanding. On the Scamp, pretty much the same. Maybe a bit less on this. I might put, if I put this as 7, I put this as 6.5. So still about the same. But very, very nice. Again, very confidence inspiring. Never worry about this thing snapping on my fingers. Very, very cool. As far as the carry goes, this is one thing I have with these. I think the Scamp I much prefer in the pocket, because even at 3 inches is larger than I like for most of my traditionals. Because if I'm carrying a traditional or a modern traditional, any slip joint knife, it's usually a backup, to be honest. And I prefer kind of my maximum size as more the mini trapper. This is pushing it, but it's so slim that it's just as good in my pocket as the mini trapper is. On the Gentry, for me personally, it's a bit big. It's a bit big for what I like to carry with something that doesn't have a pocket clip. If this had just a very small little pocket clip, I think I would like it a lot more than I do. But carry wise, it's just when it's floating around in my pocket, this is show them closed. This is a lot to be just banging around in your pocket. For me, it may not be that way for you, but yeah, it's a bit long for what I like just banging around in my pocket. Where the Scamp is right at my maximum. So I like carrying the Scamp. This not quite as much. It's not awful. I don't hate it, but it's not my thing. It would have to be probably the only knife that I was carrying, because my usual standard knife pocket is my right front, and if I have something clipped there and have this, it bangs around on the other knife I have in there, and I don't care for that. So what are my conclusions? My conclusions are they are gorgeously done, beautiful, quote-unquote modern traditionals, modern slip joints, whatever you want to call them. They are beautifully done, and they are both excellent, but 188 and 178. Like, if you're looking in that modern traditional market, gets kind of hot sometimes, and every now and then some really awesome stuff comes out. One that comes to mind that I don't remember what it cost, but it was about the same or maybe less expensive. The collectorknives.com, they did the shuffler and the round head made by Lion Steel with M390 on them. They didn't have all the cool titanium and stuff, I'll give you that. But I believe they were about the same price or less, and it's M390, it has a bit more of that traditional look. These are just S35VN. I don't know. It's up to you as far as price goes, whether or not they're worth it. But these are very dear. They are not inexpensive knives. I would say definitely my favorite of them is the Scamp. The Scamp is pretty cool. If I was to buy one, it's not horribly unlikely that I'll buy one at some point. It would be the Scamp. It's just the size of it. It's more the size I like for a slip joint. Big slip joints, I've just never really gotten into. If you're into big slip joints, though, this one is great. They are very well constructed. WE has an awesome reputation. There's a reason why they build everybody's everything. They are gorgeously made, but it's just are they worth the price? I don't know. That's up to you. I'm kind of leaning 60-40 to the no side, but it's up to you. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.